Charleston White's explosive reaction to Boosie's final sentencing has left the internet in shock. Not only was he caught on camera crying out of sheer rage, but he also initiated a full-blown fight with Boosie inside the courtroom, as if the rapper's 5-year prison sentence wasn't enough punishment in his eyes. What unfolded in that tense federal chamber wasn't just a legal proceeding. It was a collision of egos, personal grudges, and years of verbal warfare boiling over into raw, physical chaos. Witnesses say the moment the judge announced a verdict, the room's atmosphere shifted from tense silence to a storm of emotion, and at the very center of it all was Charleston White, trembling with fury, tears streaking down his cheeks, his voice cutting through the murmurs like a blade. This wasn't a stunt for social media, nor was it one of Charleston's infamous trolling performances. This was personal. To understand the gravity of this confrontation, you have to go back to the long-brewing animosity between Charleston White and Boosie. For years, Charleston has made a living calling out rappers for their alleged hypocrisy, criminal behavior, and street code mentality. Boosie, on the other hand, prided himself on being the voice of the streets, unfiltered and unapologetic. These two men have traded shots online, in interviews, and through their respective platforms. Charleston labeled Boosie a menace hiding behind music, while Boosie mocked Charleston as an internet clown with a badge in his back pocket. But on this day, their feud took a turn no one saw coming. The courtroom was already packed that morning. Family members of Boosie, members of his legal team, reporters, and spectators filled the benches. The air was thick, part anticipation, part dread. Boosie sat in his signature glare-and-smirk demeanor, tapping his fingers on the table like a man trying to mask anxiety with confidence. His lawyers whispered last-minute reassurances, but their eyes betrayed the uncertainty. Charleston, seated several rows back, wore a crisp suit but had a restless energy about him, shifting in his seat like he couldn't wait for something to happen. When the judge finally delivered the sentence, 5 years in federal custody, the courtroom erupted. Gasps, murmurs, even a few cheers from certain corners. But it was Charleston who became the focal point. At first, he bowed his head, his shoulders shaking. Some thought he was laughing. But when he looked up, it became clear. His eyes were bloodshot, wet and brimming with fury. He muttered something under his breath, then louder. "This ain't over, Boosie." His voice carried, drawing stares from the jury box and bailiffs. That's when things spiraled. According to multiple witnesses, Charleston stood up abruptly, pointing directly at Boosie. "We still got business. Boy, don't think 5 years gonna save you from me." His voice was ragged, every syllable sharp enough to cut glass. Boosie, never one to back down, locked eyes with him and gave a half smile that might as well have been gasoline on a fire. "Boy, you've been talking too much. Come say that to my face before they take me away." Boosie shot back. It was like the judge, the jury, the sentence. None of it existed anymore. Charleston took that as an invitation and charged forward. Court security yelled for him to stop. But by the time they moved, Charleston was already swinging. He lunged at Boosie, fist connecting with his shoulder before Boosie shoved him back. Papers flew off the defense table, chairs screeched, and in an instant the courtroom turned into a scene straight out of a street fight. Boosie, despite being restrained by 2 officers, managed to throw a retaliatory jab that caught Charleston in the side of the head. Charleston roared back, kicking toward Boosie's legs before a bailiff grabbed him from behind and dragged him away. People screamed. Boosie's mother shouted from the front row, "Y'all get him out of here," while Charleston's voice kept echoing, "5 years ain't enough. 5 years ain't enough." The judge, visibly furious, slammed the gavel over and over, calling for order. It took 6 officers to pull Charleston completely out of the room, his face twisted with rage, tears still streaming, his tie half ripped from the scuffle. What makes this outburst so fascinating and disturbing is that it wasn't a simple case of a man celebrating his enemy's downfall. No, Charleston wasn't there to gloat. He wanted more. In his mind, 5 years in prison didn't even begin to scratch the surface of what Boosie deserved. Later, outside the courthouse, Charleston gave an impromptu interview to a small group of reporters who caught up with him. He was still breathing heavily, eyes red, shirt rumpled from the altercation. They think this is justice? 5 years? Nah, man. I done buried too many friends, 'cause of what dudes like Boosie stand for. This ain't about rap. This about morals. This about the poison he put in the streets, Charleston said, his voice cracking but forceful. He went on to claim that Boosie had wronged him in a way the public didn't fully understand. Y'all think I'm just some internet loudmouth, but me and that man got history. Deep history. He know what I'm talking about. He done cross lines you can't uncross. And now they're gonna lock him up like that's the end of it? Nah. I wanted to look him in the eye, man to man, and let him know I ain't done with you. The reporters pressed for details, but Charleston refused to elaborate, instead storming off into a waiting black SUV. Inside the prison transport van, Boosie reportedly laughed about the whole ordeal. One officer later recounted that Boosie smirked and said, "That boy Charleston crazy for real. He loved me more than my fans." But Boosie also hinted that Charleston might regret crossing him in such a public and physical way. He better hope I ain't got no friends out there as crazy as him, Boosie allegedly told another inmate. Online, the incident exploded. Within hours, clips of the fight went viral, with hashtags like hashtag Charleston versus Boosie and hashtag Courtroom Brawl trending. Some fans sided with Charleston, praising him for standing on business and confronting Boosie face-to-face instead of hiding behind a screen. Others criticized him for turning a legal proceeding into a circus, accusing him of seeking attention and jeopardizing the seriousness of the case. Memes flooded Instagram and Twitter. One showed Charleston photoshopped into a Mortal Kombat scene with the caption, "Finish him," while another depicted Boosie behind bars with Charleston still trying to throw punches from outside the cell. But beyond the memes and debates, this moment cemented something deeper. Charleston White isn't just a commentator anymore. He's now physically inserted himself into stories he's been narrating for years. That changes the dynamic entirely. The legal fallout for Charleston could be serious. Assaulting someone inside a courtroom, especially during a federal proceeding, is no small matter. At press time, authorities confirmed that Charleston was detained for questioning, but later released pending further investigation. Still, prosecutors are reportedly reviewing whether to file additional charges, which could lead to fines or even jail time. As for Boosie, his legal troubles are far from over. The 5-year sentence came after a grueling trial that saw prosecutors paint him as a repeat offender unwilling to change his ways.
I need to...
New footage just blew up. Fulio's crew and Youngin Ace going at it right inside the courtroom.